Hey there, it's Gersten here, and today I'm going to continue to share with you my experience with ayahuasca, the plant medicine that we tried at the Rythmia Life Advancement Center in Costa Rica. So I have already made the first part of this series, which was breath work. So breath work was the first part before we ever took ayahuasca. So you can find this video on my feed as well. And I know that in this last video I said that I'm going to go ahead and share my ayahuasca experience as soon as possible. And that was my intention, to film these videos soon after we tried these we had those ceremonies, plant medicine ceremonies, but the reality is that I just was not able to. It turned out to be so much more intense than I ever imagined. So I needed a lot of time off. And now I'm getting back to it about a week later. But here we are. So there are 4 ayahuasca ceremonies at Rythmia. And in this video, I'm going to go ahead and share first 2 with you. So the first night we took the medicine. So the way it looks like is that you're all in one big room. There's about 50 or 60 of us. There's nice mattresses on the floor, nice and soft, nice and really cozy little blankets. Everybody has their own bucket in case they need to throw up. A lot of people did. And then you go ahead and take that medicine. And then you go and lie down and see what the medicine is going to show you. So that's a super quick recap how it looks like. There's also a lot of other things involved, like shamans are blessing the medicine and talking to us beforehand and stuff like that. We also use rapé, which is like a sort of like tobacco that they blow into your nose, like each nostril, which opens you up to the medicine so you can receive it better. So before we took the medicine, we did a round of rapé, and then it was time to take the medicine. So the first night I took my medicine and I went to lie down in my bed, and what started happening was I started getting like small visuals from my past. So there was my childhood memories, like where I grew up, or where my grandma used to live, or some pictures from school, things like that. And to be honest, I didn't see much on that first night. So everything that happened was like small, really small clips, like maybe 3 to 5 seconds of a memory of something, right? For example, I saw tiny little things like, hey, there's this old lamp that we used to have in our house, or hey, there's this funny light switch that looked different that we had in our house, or hey, there's my aunt's wedding, although I had never been to my aunt's wedding. I was not even born when she got married. So interesting stuff like that just kept popping up. And about 1.5 hours after taking the first shot, so it comes in a little shot glass, you take the shot, they announced that you can come and take another glass, right? So they say that in general, if you're able to, if you hear them talking about the second glass, and if you're able to walk there, then go ahead and do it. I got up, I was feeling a little bit nauseous, but not too bad, so I was totally ready to go and take another shot. So I took the second glass, and actually what happened to me is that I feel like I got a little bit more sober. I stopped getting too many visuals. I got some, but something weird started happening. My mind really wanted to block them. I would get something and I would feel like I'm going deeper, something else is about to happen, but my mind was like snapping me out of it, and I couldn't go deeper. And this is pretty much how the whole night went for me. Like I said, short, tiny little movie clips, and that was about it. And then after a while, everybody kind of woke up, we were closing the ceremony, and I was like, yeah, it was fine, like nothing big happened, nothing good happened, nothing bad happened. I just saw like small little video clips, and that was it. But then when we had closed the ceremony and we had the chance to just stay there for a little bit, and I felt kind of like weird and dizzy and nauseous, so I decided I'm gonna stay instead of going to my room. And then this is where things started getting a little bit interesting. All of a sudden I just started crying like crazy. It's interesting because everything was over already. But of course, ayahuasca is in your body for a longer time. It's not just, this 6 hours or whatever it was. It stays in your body. And now it's been about a week after our last ayahuasca shot, and it's still in my body. It still affects me. So I started crying like crazy. It went on for a good like 30 minutes or so. I just cried and cried and cried, and I did not know the reason. And it's interesting because in real life, I don't cry, and it's hard for me, and I want to cry more. Sometimes I feel I have emotions stuck inside of me. I have a lot of sadness, but I just can't cry for some reason. And now it felt actually good. It just let everything out, everything out. And people around me started getting back to their houses, back to their rooms, and I was still there, crying, 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 crying. And I wanted to stay longer, and they said it's totally fine to stay as long as you need. And maybe, I think it was about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more, when I started feeling that, okay, I'm doing okay now, and I'm just gonna go back to my room and go to sleep. And that's pretty much what happened the first night for me. Okay, now the second night come, which was for me the hardest. It was incredibly hard because I found out something from my past that I didn't know ever existed, and this was a difficult experience. So first of all, we do the same ceremony. It's 5:30, and then people are showing up in the ceremony room. The shaman this time. It was a different shaman. There's different shaman every day or every night. He also shared with us how the medicine is going to work, what to expect, what to do. Again, the same advice. If you're able to hear them talking about the second glass and you're ready to walk there straight, then go ahead and take the medicine, because they say that the more medicine, the more healing. So I took the medicine and I lied down, and I very quickly went into a very deep state of I don't know what to even call it, but I feel like I was away, right? So it's interesting. At the same time, you feel that you are there while also feeling that you are not there. So you are able to, you hear what you're doing, you understand what you're doing, but you're not able to control it. So as I'm lying down, I'm starting to feel like I'm yawning. Yawning, by the way, is one way of purging. Purging is not only vomiting and pooping. It's also yawning. It's also for gasping for air, crying. These are all forms of purging. And I started yawning like crazy, and then I also started feeling this weird thing, like my upper lip started like twitching. I couldn't control it, and then I hear myself saying things like, "Ooh, gross, gross, ooh, I can't." And I hear myself saying these things, doing weird noises with my mouth, like. All these things are something that you can't like control or do anything about. You just hear and observe yourself doing these things. And so what started happening to me was that I started getting this vision of a lot of snakes, and I have a fear of snakes. I see a lot of snakes kind of dancing around me. We are in this bubble, in this round, like big bubble. There's me, and there's like a ton of snakes. And they're dancing and dancing and dancing around me. And here I am thinking like, okay, I'm going to see how I die. And it went on really long. They play music at the same time. And there's this music that's really matched with the way the snakes were dancing. And it's like the drums, like, dun, 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 dun. And it matched really well. And I remember thinking like, please stop this music, please stop this music. Maybe then the snakes will go away. But the music seemed like it went on for an hour at least. And then the picture, I actually did not die, but something emerged from that picture that had been done to me when I was little. It was very painful. It was very hard. And one moment I just couldn't lie down anymore. I just jumped up and I started screaming. I started asking for help. There's a lot of, shaman helpers. They call them facilitators and the shaman. And every time when somebody needs help, they are there for you, like quickly. They come to you, they chant, they use their little leaf things to kind of calm you down. They spray some special water on you to get you calm down. And I needed it so badly. I was very upset. I was very hot. So I took off my sweatshirt. First I took off the blanket, then I took off the sweatshirt, then my t-shirt, and then something in my rational mind told me that don't take the bra off. At least this much control I had. And so it was very, very difficult what I saw. Also, other people around me started, they're vomiting. Some people were screaming, some people were laughing, but mostly like screaming. But I think at this point when when I started going through my my purge and my visions, I was the first one in the room, and most of the room was still pretty quiet. It got wilder later. And so it was super difficult. I couldn't like lie down anymore. They tried to calm me down. They literally held my hand. They told me to lie down and deep through, to kind of like breathe through it. I was hoping to throw up because I felt like this is how I get rid of this when I throw up. And I tried to purge, but nothing came out. And they told me that it comes out when it's ready. It comes out when it's ready. You can't force it. And yeah, then I went outside. I walked around there. I always had my bucket with me in case I need to use it. And then I remember even I was so upset. I wanted this out of my head. I couldn't believe this thing ever happened to me. It was really difficult to believe, and it still is very hard to believe that this happened to me. And I remember walking around outside and just slamming the bucket on the floor like it was empty and just saying that, fuck this, I can't handle this anymore. Yeah, it was really difficult. And then it came the time to take the second. Oh, actually, one more thing. When this worse kind of moment passed, they always say that if you see something really awful, something really beautiful is right around the corner. And then that was actually true. So somehow at one moment, this awful feeling started to kind of go away a little bit. And I started feeling this like immense love for my husband. I just felt like my heart is like so open, and I just realized how much I love him and how much I want never anything bad to happen to him or to us, and how much I really like love him and need him. And it's so hard to describe, but this feeling was so strong, so strong. And my husband was in the same room, but they always tell you to not stay too close with somebody that you really love, because then you get worried about them. And I was so like, I wanted to make sure that he's okay. I don't know where I got this idea that he's not okay. And I told the shaman, I need to go there. Is he okay? And he's like, he's on his own journey. He's absolutely fine. Don't worry about him. And I'm still trying to like look over my shoulder, see if he's fine. And then, yeah, so it was a very like traumatic experience, followed by like a feeling like I'm like poured over with lots of love. And then, yeah, it was hard. But then I heard they called for the second drink, and I was thinking, should I take it? Should I not? But I remember they always say that you can't really overdose it, and the more medicine, the better. So I went up for the second drink, but and I had it, and then I lied down, and I started kind of going back to this like really deep state, but it never got that deep anymore. I didn't get too many visuals anymore. I saw interesting things like I don't know, I was white, and then I turned black, and then I turned white. It was like a weird like fluctuation, and then nothing else really happened on that night anymore. So that was the most traumatic experience for me. Honestly, like what I saw that had been done to me was so hard to believe that at the end of the ceremony, I asked the shaman, can I trust what I saw? Can I trust what I saw? Because it feels so unreal, and how come I don't remember any of this? And he said, you know what, next time just ask the medicine, ask the specific question, and then that's what I did. Okay, these were my first 2 nights. The next video is going to be about the third and the fourth night. Just to tell you real quick, the third night was the most meaningful and most impactful night for me. That gave me also something very valuable. So I will talk about that in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, you can leave them here, or you can DM me on Instagram or my blog, whatever is the most easiest way for you. Okay, thanks so much, and I will talk to you in a little bit.